Broadcasting from Hollywood, it's the official On Air with Brandon J podcast. Here we go.
Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Brandon. Welcome to On Air with Brandon J. I'm joined by recording artist, songwriter, singer, Mr. Michael Ferrari. John, how are you?
I'm doing very well this morning. Very well. Living here on the ranch, we got all the animals. Pepper fed the animals this morning, and we're feeling good.
you know what I saw you last week when we were doing the Easy Way Wall of Fame, and I was the keynote speaker with Mark Victor Hansen. I saw you on the ranch. I was like, I know he's got to be loving that ranch.
Well, it's a beautiful place. We go to Nashville for a few weeks, several times a year, and we travel around. And it's fun, but there comes a point where I just want to get back home to the ranch, because it's peaceful here. We love being with the animals. It's just a nice place to be.
Let's talk about being in the studio in Nashville. When I was reading up on you and doing my homework, I saw you worked with the greats like Larry Beard. Like, what was it like working in the studio with Larry Beard? Because Larry's just a genius, in my opinion.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, we do a lot of pre-production work in my studio. And, people hear my recordings and they go, wow, that sounds really good. You should just put that out there. And I said, no. I said, big difference between what you can do in your home studio, big difference what you do in a professional studio. And also when you're sitting with someone like with Larry, he'll go through the songs and he'll say, John, this is an extra verse. You're going to be out of the structure radio format. And if you're out of radio structure format, you won't get radio play. The algorithms won't pick up your song. So, it's very precise. And having somebody that knowledgeable, giving us that kind of information, is invaluable. He's there and he's telling us things. And sometimes we overlook things. And then sometimes we're sitting there and we want to make last minute changes. And we tell Larry and he'll convey that to the musicians. We don't talk to the musicians, usually, well, Pepper does. But it's like when somebody's building your house, you don't talk to the workers, you talk to the guy who has all the plans and everything. Well, it's the same thing with Larry. These are professional people. They take everything to a much higher level. And I encourage people, if you are not familiar with the equipment in your studio, making demos is fine. But if you want to compete in the world out there, your music has to be as good sounding and the production has to be as high as all the major stars.
And as musicians, John, they gotta be on point. I mean, I know he's working with those major studio session musicians up in Nashville that work with like Tim McGraw and Garth Brooks and others. So to have access to that kind of talent, that top tier talent, I should say, it takes things to a whole other level.
Yeah, we were there at the studio and Garth Brooks showed up, to say hello to some people. That's Nashville, and
yeah,
if you want to get it in the game and play the game, you've got to be there and you've got to go to the studios, get the session leaders, have a good producer. You're competing against the best, so you better have the same kind of players on your team as you're competing against. And luckily, we made that decision to do that. It's costly, but it costs more not to do it. If you don't do it, you don't get out there. We took that chance, and within 2 months, which is unheard of after recording in Nashville, we got on our first chart. And that song was so beautiful. And I remember when we first got on there, we were so excited. We were at the very bottom of the chart, very bottom.
Wow.
We were happy just to be on the chart with my name associated with all the major players. I mean, and who would have thought that it would have went up to number two? Number two, went up to number two. How's that happen?
Right.
But, it's because of the production quality. People listen to the songs, they go, wow, that's really high production. And that's good stuff. So they take what we do and make it better. And
that's
it, man.
John, I want to talk about your latest single, Paint You a Love Song. I know people are playing this song at the weddings. I know that's got to be a refreshing feeling to you to know that you put out this music with such a great positive message and people are responding and reacting to it in a great way.
Well, I remember listening to Taylor Swift she was talking about sitting in her a bedroom, sitting on her bed, writing this song. She said, never in my wildest dreams that I think this particular song would be playing all over the world. Well, that's how I felt when I wrote the song. It never occurred to me that this song would be playing all over the world, and getting radio play in different countries. And we were driving down the street the other day, and we listened to our radio in the car, and one of my songs came on, and I thought, that sounds familiar.
It's like, it's me. It's you, John.
It's me. It's always a thrill,
Right.
But if you're going to play the game, you got to go where the action is, where the people are producing this kind of quality.
Absolutely. You got to play the game right. I mean, that's with anything, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a song, whether you're doing real estate, location and playing the game is everything.
And, when I write the songs, people ask me my method of writing, it's a little bit different, but, I was telling somebody the other day, I said, I sit down. It's like when you go on a vacation, you have a map in front of you, where itinerary, where you're going to go and how you're going to get there. It's the same thing with songs. I write out the structure of the song, and then I fit my lyrics and my music in that structure. And if you fall out of that structure, if you don't have that structure, you're not going to get radio play. I mean, the title of the song has to be at a particular place. It has to repeat itself. It's either at the beginning of the chorus or the beginning and the end of the chorus.
Right.
These are logistical things you have to do with your music. And I hear so many really good songwriters miss the mark because they're not doing the structure and the format. It's not that you have to, but if you want to get radio play, you really pretty much have to do that.
Absolutely. And John, let's talk about, you're currently hosting a podcast that highlights this very topic that we're discussing right now, which is songwriting. Like, what do you feel is the most how compelling thing that is affecting you in a great way from hosting this podcast?
Well, I guess it is a podcast. It's a radio show. It's actual radio. They came to me and they said, we'd like to give you an hour each week, and you can do whatever you want. And Pepper said, okay, we'll do a half hour. Because it takes a lot of work. So she's contacted some of the higher profile PR firms in Nashville, and they've given us some really good guests to be on our show. But in that structure, I've tweet some of my philosophy and what I know about songwriting, and the story is a little bit about the song, but how to structure a song. And so you're listening to the podcast, but you're also getting information on how to have a better handle on writing the songs. Because it really is it does take creativity, but within that creativity, you have to be able to read that map. So
there's
it's really
a formula. You're so right on the money with this. I've been in the studio for the past, I don't know, 2 weeks, and not even 2 weeks, just a few days. I'm blowing it way out of proportion, but the whole point I'm trying to make is we've been in the studio writing pop songs, top lines, and we have to pick the tracks. And if that track doesn't grab me in the first 5 to 8 seconds, I'm not interested in writing to it, because I know it's not going to grab the listener's attention.
And, like Larry Beard says, you got to hit the chorus within the first 40 seconds, 50 seconds at the latest. You got to get to the chorus and the title right there, right up in front, and that's a benchmark when I'm writing the song. Am I hitting that mark? And then where does the bridge come in? And then back to the chorus. it's structured. And again, if you're a jazz musician, or you don't have to follow the structure, but you're not going to get radio play, at least on the pop stations. We were very fortunate because it doesn't happen a lot, but it's happened almost with every one of our songs. They became crossovers. Not only were they played on the country station, they were playing it on the pop stations and was adult listening stations. So there were cross platforms. Our songs were being played, not just on one, because, many times an artist will just be in one platform. He might just be in the country or just in pop. And we were lucky enough to hit all three, all of the platforms with our songs, which is amazing because, they're really not country, but there is a slide guitar in there. So people say, oh, it's country.
Right.
I don't think Masquerading in the Night, does that have a slide guitar in there?
No,
I don't
think so.
But that's it's on the country charts,
Right.
but it's more of a pop song, and I write all over the board, because I love music, but some of my songs are fitted for country, some are fitted for pop, some are fitted for more Broadway type of stage play. That type of thing. I can write those. I love writing those songs, but I integrate all that into my music, just bring it in there. I don't try to be like anyone else. We were in Nashville and we were sitting with a publisher, and, he listens to the song and he goes, what do you want to do with these? I said, we thought maybe we'd pitch them to artists. And he said, your songs are really good and they're unique. They're different. And he said, Nashville's not looking for unique and different. They're looking for what is right now. You're
Right.
unique and different. He said,
What's
your
selling?
best
What's commercial? What's radio ready?
He said, your best opportunity is you doing it yourself. He said, you'll have a better chance of getting where you want to go. And he was right. I mean, we decided not to pitch the songs. We decided to do it ourselves and hire people like a radio promoter, and Pepper works really hard. And our radio promoter said, I can't guarantee anything. You're an unknown. And the idea that you would even get on the charts is very slim. But within 2 months, we were on the charts. But, he told us up front. But because we met all the qualifications, we were structured, radio play, and everything was right there. The quality, the songs were commercial. I hit all the benchmarks, and because of that, we got radio play. We made it.
That's incredible. I mean, congratulations on all of the current success and future success that you're going to have, John. And what advice do you have for those artists out there that let's just talk about all of the thousands of people that move to Nashville and LA? What advice do you have for those pursuing artists trying to break into the door of music?
Well, I would suggest find a mentor, somebody who's doing what you want to do. If you can get with that person, you may not agree with them, but if it's working for them, do what they're doing. You may not want to write in structure format. That's fine. But if you want to get radio play and you want to get someplace, find somebody and do what they're doing. Follow their roadmap. And if you're lucky enough and you're good enough, maybe they'll take you under their wing and help you along. We try to do that with many people. We, find some people who want that same dream. You can't push anybody. They have to want it. You have to really want it, and you have to work at it. And that's the hardest thing is finding, and biggest thing, finding a good producer, finding an excellent producer. When I write songs and I'm in the studio, Pepper will come in and she'll go over the lyrics and things like that and listen to what I'm doing. And she'll say, oh, this is an interesting line, really good, but it doesn't belong in this song. So she refines everything that I do. In the studio, she and the session leader work together. And all I have to do is concentrate on my performance and my singing, because I already wrote the song. We already have the arrangements. My job now is to sing the song and do it the best I can. But her as the producer and the session leader, it's their job to do all the other stuff in the studio. And I don't have time to do that. I don't have time to concentrate on that. And, when you're in the studio, if you're trying to do it all yourself, you're selling yourself short. You need to find good session leaders, good producers, and they'll find the right musicians for you. Don't use your friends because they can play guitar. So, I got a friend that plays guitar and drums. Oh yeah, I'll bring them in the session. No, don't do that. I don't even play on the session, and I play guitar. I wouldn't play on the session. But I do all the arrangements here in my studio, and I play all the guitar parts and all the different parts. But these people are professional. They have years of training. They know how to self-produce themselves. We have what we want written out. This is what I want, the little motifs that I want in the song. But there's an area where they can be creative and let them do what they do, because they can self-produce themselves, and they work as a group. They can look at each other and work off each other and give us certain ideas, like with So Beautiful, that arrangement. I was listening to it yesterday. I'm still flabbergasted by how wonderful that arrangement is. But those guys made that. It's not, my demo did not encompass that quality and some of the things that they put in there. So they took what I did on my demo and made it so much better. The same thing with Masquerading in the Night. If you listen to these songs, don't listen just to me, listen to the music, listen to the production, listen to what the musicians are doing. It's incredible, really incredible. Had we not done that, gone to Nashville, we wouldn't be on the charts.
That's amazing. John, let's talk about your upbringing. I think a lot of the success that you're currently receiving right now is because of your upbringing and because of the things that kind of pivoted you in the right direction. Like, when
I first got my guitar, I was 8 years old, and I didn't know which way to hold the guitar, because basically I'm left-handed. So I thought, I'll look at a picture of Elvis, and however he's holding the guitar, that's how I'm going to hold the guitar. And that was the beginning. But I always knew certain things that I wanted to be better at anything that I was trying to do. And I was never encouraged about playing guitar. But one thing, when I was very young, I learned discipline and how to be persistent through one thing called roller skating and ice skating. As a young kid, I really loved skating. And I got to the point where I was in competition, and I would be at the roller rink at least 10 to 12 hours a day.
Wow.
Like most professionals, or people who want to be professional skaters.
You were about that life, John. You were about being on the roller rink.
Oh yeah, I would be there first. I would be there when the janitor got there at 5:30 in the morning to open up.
Incredible.
And they were told to let me in whenever I show up. And I would be there, and I'd have lessons, and I would skate, and I'd have that discipline. And I really loved it. And plus that, that's where all the cute girls were, so that's a good place to be, and then, so I formed friendships with everybody, and every day we were all skating together, practicing and competing. But that was the beginning of learning how to be self-disciplined and how to do the same thing over and over again until you really got it down. And I applied that to my music, and everything else I've ever decided to do. I went there with that same vigor of discipline, and it takes that. You have to want it more than anything. You can't see it right now, but if I turn the camera around, you'd see a big stage right here, and lights and setup. Everything is all set up like for a performance. I rehearse almost every day. The same show, the same songs. I rehearse with other professional people that come in. That's part of what I do. So when I get on stage, I know what I'm going to do. And I know that same energy, because when I rehearse, I don't just sing the song. I perform the song as though I'm on stage. I want to know what it's going to feel like when I'm out there with that energy what I'm going to say, what I'm going to do. I practice all that. I go over it and over it. I'm working with a young lady right now. I've been working with her for about 9 months. And we come in and she sings harmony and sings with me. And we go over the same songs over and over again. And she's never experienced that, because like most people rehearse once in a while, like maybe
Right.
Some people don't rehearse at all. They just go out and do gigs. No, you
It's
can't.
about repetition. I mean, you have to rehearse. I mean, you have to look at every time you step on that stage, it could be your last.
Well, when I'm on stage, I owe it to the people who are coming in there because they pay money to come in, sit down, and have a show, and that's what they're paying for. You have to give them something for their money. Otherwise,
You got to give them
gonna...
something. John, where can people follow you on social media? What is the platform that you're most active on?
What about
platform? JohnMichaelFerrari.com.
JohnMichaelFerrari.com.
That'll link to everything.
And that will link to everything. You go there and Pipper has it all set up that you can just link to all different things. Yeah, that's the best thing. That's the best thing.
Awesome, John. Michael Ferrari, thank you so much for being a special guest on today's show. Congratulations on all of the current success that you're receiving, and I'm looking forward to hearing your new music and seeing you perform in the very near future.
Yeah, and I'd like to learn more about what you're doing. You're in the studio doing stuff too, right?
I'm constantly in the studio. It's my way of going to a whole new world, right? That sounds like a Aladdin song, right? A whole new world, and being just super creative. That's where I'm most at peace for myself personally. So we'll definitely talk for sure.
You do most of your recording in LA or what?
We do most of our recording in Miami and in LA. Yes. But Nashville is on the horizon coming up very soon. I'll be in Nashville in December.
So will we.
Awesome. Well, we will have to link up, Mr. John Michael Ferrari, right here on Air with Brandon J. I'm Brandon. We'll see you next time. Goodbye for now.
Thank you for tuning in to On Air with Brandon J. Follow on Instagram at I am Brandon J.